Hi dreamers! Today we're going to do our first streaming video tutorial. This is a video tutorial done by request. This will be for kitchen cookware. So Nybeski, this one is for you. Because kitchen cookware is so extensive, this is going to be a multiple part tutorial. So this is part one of many. We're going to start with something simple like whisk. Two different types of whisk. Something more traditional that we all know, and something more old-fashioned like in Grandma's kitchen. I'm going to start with this one because it's more simple. And for this tutorial, you're going to need 32 wire gauge. You're going to need needle nose pliers, wire cutters, a hole punch, a thumbtack, silver craft paint or silver metallic marker, and we are going to start, and as well as the top part of a spray bottle. Now, once you disassemble this, please do not throw this away. We are going to use this at a later date for kitchen cookware supplies. Once you disassemble it, you're going to get this spring. This spring is what we're going to use to make this wire whisk. Now, take something round. Cut your wire gauge at about probably 2.5 to 3 inches. I always cut more than needed just because it's better to be safe than sorry. It's easier to cut off excess than to have something that's too small and you have to start completely over. So once you have made your shape with your gauge, you're going to put the spring on. Once you get it at the top of your shape, we are going to begin to close this just by twisting this. You can twist this with your fingers or you can choose to use the needle nose. Now, it is a little easier using the pliers only because you can get a more firm twist. Now, once you get down here, you don't want your handle to be too long. Do not twist to the point where your wire breaks. I've had that happen to me. So, keeping this in mind, we're going to bend this down to make our loop. We're going to take this and we're going to twist it around, closing this and keeping this secure down here. Now again, this can be done with your fingers. I do not suggest it because you can get pricked using your fingers. So please, by all means, even if you're comfortable, I just don't suggest you use your fingers. Now we have our loop at the bottom. You can round it out a little more if you choose. This is the basic wire whisk, spring wire whisk. Super fast and easy. Done quickly. Now for the more advanced whisk, more traditional, you're going to need to cut 4 pieces of 32 wire gauge. Again, I suggest cutting them at 2.5 to 3, maybe even 4 inches long, because for this one you're going to need a lot more. And again, it's always better to be safe than sorry. Cut more than you need. You're going to take your hole punch. You're going to cut a piece of your plastic, clear plastic packaging. Once you get the piece out, I'm dropping things. Once you get the piece out, you're going to need to then place this on something that you can puncture holes into, because you're going to need to take your thumbtack and puncture holes into this. And because we're using 4 pieces of wire gauge, you're going to need to put 8 holes into this going around. So I have one already done. And this is what you should have. once you put your holes into this, you're going to paint this with your metallic paint, be it with a pen or craft paint with a brush. Paint it silver and let it dry. You can choose to leave it clear, that's your choice. You don't necessarily have to paint it. I paint mine just because it looks a little more realistic. Now, once we get this all painted and it dries, we are going to begin to thread our wire through it. Now, again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to wrap this around something round just to get the basic shape. Something that's close to a wide hairpin. Once we have all of these shaped out, we're going to begin to thread these through our little plastic hole, plastic circle here with the holes. Now, again, you should have 8 holes. And when puncturing the holes in with your thumbtack or push pin, try and get them as evenly across from each other as possible. That's going to play a major part with how your whisk turns out. And we're going to do this all the way across. So you can see that the whisk is beginning to take shape. Oh, excuse me. And that's 3. And the last one is going to make 4. Having a little trouble with the last one. We got it in. Now again, my plastic that I use is a little thicker than most clear packaging, but this can be done with that. You're just going to probably need to cut 2 and then glue for more stability. Now, this is the basic part of the whisk. I want everything to be at the same level. Now down here, I'm going to just twist it up a little bit. We're now going to take a piece of the wire and we're going to wrap this around. Sorry, should have already had this cut. We're going to wrap this around place this through your wire. We want this to make a hook. So we're going to close this. Making a little hook here. And we are going to begin to wrap this around So as you can see your whisk is starting to take shape. Now what to do with all of this down here, you could have actually cut the piece that I wrapped here, you can cut it longer and continue to wrap all the way down and around. Or you can take piece by piece and continue to wrap this around until you get to the end. Once you get to the end, of course, you are going to need to make your loop the same as we did with our spring whisk. Once you get to the end, the last two, you want to bend one and then wrap. So then you will have this. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Keep checking in for more kitchen cookware tutorials as there are more to come. And of course, stay creative and dream green. Bye. Like, comment, and subscribe.